Two heads, one tail, yin yang. Two tails, one head, yin yang. Two tails, one head, yin yang. Two tails, one head, yin yang. 2 heads, 1 tail, young yin. Two heads, 1 tail, young yin. The bottom trigram will be read as broken, solid, solid. This is the trigram. Xun, wind, or wood. Xun is both wind and living plants. Whatever penetrates, spreads, and grows, shaping itself to the space available or shaping that space to its own nature. She is responsive flexibility, sensitively improvising and adapting. Like the wind, she can always find a way through because she never creates any resistance, and so her influence is subtle and gradual, but far-reaching. In the family of trigrams, Xun is the eldest daughter, gentle and submissive. She belongs to the southeast and to late spring and early summer. And our top or outer trigram will be read as solid, broken, broken. This is the trigram. Zen thunder. Thunder is shock, upheaval, and the spark of the new. In old Chinese belief, thunder slept in the earth over winter and erupted from it in spring, awakening living things into new growth. Thunder is our basic drive for renewal. He inspires initiative and decisive action. He is the stimulus that sets things in motion. He is the eldest son in the trigram family, the first connection of heaven, potential, with earth, realization. Yang makes itself known here, emerging into the field and beginning to grow. Thunder belongs to the east and to spring. Zen thunder above Xun, wind, or wood give us the hexagram. $32. Why do I feel like this is Constancy? I don't know if it is. We'll look at the title to our hexagram in I-ming's Taoist I Ching, which he wrote in 1796 as a Taoist adept. It's quite alchemical in nature. Oh my gosh. Hexagram 32, Constancy. Single-minded application, perseverance in real practice. We will start by reading from Hilary Barrett's I Ching, Walking Your Path, Creating Your Future. It's a nice introductory I Ching commentary, but also quite profound. Hexagram 32, Hilary Barrett calls lasting. When we approach the I Ching to consult the oracle, the question we bring to it will always have the general context of how can I act in creative relation with the spirits or forces shaping this moment of time. Key questions. What inspiration are you making real in your daily life? How can you continue on the same path even as you adapt? Who will you become by persevering in this? Oracle, lasting, creating success, not a mistake. Constancy bears fruit, fruitful to have a direction to go. Whatever becomes part of the heart's circling journey will last. We bind things, influences, ideas, people, into the fabric of our lives by integrating them into the daily round of our way of living, so that they are carried with us through change. This is an active, creative process, keeping the channels always open for exchange between inspiration and reality. Lasting tirelessly on your own path, whatever landscapes it travels through, is not a mistake. What lasts bears fruit, not because you arrive at some final destination, but because through all the changes, you persevere in your intent and inspiration, and you are always finding ways to make it real. Image, thunder and wind, lasting. A noble one stands firm and does not change his bearings. Thunder and wind are endlessly changeable, but they are part of a larger lasting cycle. The noble one's inner nature, subtle as the wind, translates into action as decisive as thunder. So however the environment changes, everything he does will always travel in the same direction. Sequence. Lasting follows from Hexagram 31, influence. The way of husband and wife cannot fail to endure, and so lasting follows. Lasting means enduring. Influence is a traditional hexagram for betrothal and Hexagram 32 for marriage. You are attracted towards something enduring, so influence can be fixed into life like dye into a cloth. Then the lasting patterns of life are infused with vitality. Next, we will look at I-ming's Taoist I Ching, which again he wrote in 1796 as a Taoist adept. It's quite alchemical. Quite indeed. Indeedly doodly. Constancy. Constancy is developmental, impeccable. It is beneficial to be correct. It is beneficial to have a place to go. Explanation. Constancy means long persistence. As for the qualities of the hexagram, above is thunder, active, and below is wind, penetrating. Acting gently as the breeze, active yet serene, neither identifying nor detaching, the mind steadfast and the will far-reaching. It is therefore called constancy. This hexagram represents genuine application in real practice. It follows on the previous hexagram, fire. Fire means illumining the inward as well as the outward, aiming at profound attainment of personal realization, so that illumination is all-pervasive. But the path of pervasive illumination is not possible without a constant mind. Constancy means single-mindedly applying the will. The longer, the stronger, not becoming lazy and slacking off. Thereby, one can comprehend essence in life, so there is a path of development in constancy, and it is also possible to be impeccable thereby. However, though constancy can lead to development and impeccability, it is only beneficial if constancy is correct. If it is not correct, abandoning the real and entering into the false, then it is not developmental and is faulty. The blind practitioners in the world who go into deviant paths, taking what is wrong to be right, aggrandizing themselves, boasting of their practices and cultivating vain reputations, striving all their lives without ever awakening, most assuredly are capable of constancy, but they are constant in aberrated paths, not constant in the right path. If you want to seek eternal life in this way, you will, on the contrary, hasten death. When your time is up, you will have no way out and cannot escape the blame. How could you gain good fortune? Therefore, constancy in the developmental, impeccable way is only brought to fruition by correctness. Even so, the benefit of correctness of constancy is preeminently the benefit in correctness of constant practice. So the text says, it is beneficial to have a place to go. The benefit lies only in constant practice of what is correct. What is correct is true principle, which is the Tao of body and mind, essence and life. This path appropriates yin and yang, takes over creation, sheds birth and death, escapes compulsive routine. This is a great work involving constancy and persistence. It cannot be accomplished in a day and a night. It requires flexible, gentle, gradual advance, ascending from low to high, going from shallow to deep, step by step, treading in the realm of reality. Only then can one be effective. Generally speaking, a great affair which endures long unchanging requires great work that endures long unceasing before it can be achieved. The constancy that is beneficial if correct is the constancy that is beneficial if it is going somewhere. But if you want to practice what is right, first you must know what is right, investigating truth, reaching the basis of essence, thereby arriving at the universal order. The work of comprehending essence and arriving at the universal order of life is all a matter of thoroughly penetrating truth. We'll also look at the commentary section in the back. Which I-ming in the back calls perseverance, hexagram 32. Thunder above, wind below. Thunder and wind are perpetual. Thus does the superior person stand without changing places. Perseverance is persistence. Above is thunder, below is wind. When thunder is in motion, wind follows along. Thunder and wind grasp each other. With wind, the sound of thunder reaches afar. Following thunder, the blowing of the wind is powerful. This is the image of perseverance. What superior people see in this is that just as the nature of thunder is strong, while the nature of wind is gentle, strength and gentility balancing one another so as to be able to stir myriad beings, in the same way there is strength and gentility in people, which require one another so as to enable people to persist in carrying out the way. Thereby they stand without changing places. To stand means to be decisive, to have stability of concentration. One's place means the path that is to be traveled, the way that is to be carried out. There are students who are decisive in doing things. There are those who are decisive but do not know the proper way to go. And there are those who know the way to go but eventually slack off after an earnest start, alter their plans along the way, and change their places. All of them lack the determination to persevere consistently, so they are unable to practice the eternally unchanging Tao. Superior people consider the nature and life of mind and body to be the one important matter, and they know that to accomplish the Tao that is eternally unchanging requires a permanently unchanging will. Emulating the strength and vigor of thunder and the flexible gentility of wind, they single out what is good and hold to it, gradually advancing in an orderly manner, growing ever stronger the longer they persevere. Wealth and rank cannot make them dissolute. Poverty and ignominy cannot move them. Authority and arms cannot suppress them. Everything in existence being void of absoluteness, they rest in the appropriate place, thus able to reach profound attainment of self-realization, in which the earthly and celestial are combined, lasting forever without corruption. Next, we will look at the Gnostic Book of Changes by James Dekorne. He's a practitioner of the Tao, and he has synthesized several I Ching commentaries into one helpful place. I've left links to it in the description box below. You can download the entire thing as a PDF if you wanted. He leaves his editor's notes in different places and sums the whole reading up, or the hexagram up at the end. He also puts helpful quotes by Carl Jung and the Kabbalah, stuff like that in here. 32, Consistency. Other titles might be Duration, the symbol of constancy, the long enduring, constant, persevering, standing fast, Continuity, constancy in the midst of change, holding firm. A quote from D.F. Hook. Get yourself into a fixed routine like the orbiting planets. Judgment, leg. Consistency means successful progress without error through firm correctness. Movement in any direction is advantageous. Wilhelm/Baines, duration, success, no blame. Perseverance furthers. It furthers one to have somewhere to go. Blowfold, the long enduring, success and freedom from error. Righteous persistence brings reward. It is favorable to have in view some goal or destination. Ritzema/Karcher, persevering, growing, without fault, harvesting trial, harvesting, possessing, directed going. This hexagram describes your situation in terms of continuity and endurance. It emphasizes that continuing on and renewing the way you are following is the adequate way to handle the situation. To be in accord with the time, you are told to persevere. Clary 2, constancy comes through without fault, beneficial insofar as it is correct. It is beneficial to have a place to go. Wu, constancy indicates pervasion. There will be no blame. It also indicates advantage of being persevering and having undertakings. The image, leg. Thunder over wind, the image of consistency. The superior man stands firm and does not change his method of operation. Wilhelm/Baines, thunder and wind, the image of duration. Thus the superior man stands firm and does not change his direction. Blowfold, this hexagram symbolizes thunder accompanied by wind. The superior man stands so firmly that he cannot be uprooted. Lu, thunder and wind symbolize duration. The superior man stands firm without changing direction. Ritzema/Karcher, thunder, wind, persevering. Chun-Tzu, or chief son or superior person, uses establishing, not versatility, on all sides. Wu, a combination of thunder and wind forms constancy. Thus, the Chun-Tzu, or chief son or superior person, establishes himself by not changing his post. Commentary. Confucius/Leg, consistency means long continuance. The dynamic trigram of thunder is above, and the magnetic trigram of wind is below. Docility and motive force are in sympathetic communication because their dynamic and magnetic lines all correspond. When the motive power is spent, it will begin again. Hence, movement in any direction is advantageous. The sun and moon are consistent in their illumination, and the 4 sequential seasons are consistent in their cycles of growth. The sages are consistent in their work, and all under heaven are transformed. When we examine this consistent perseverance, the natural tendencies of heaven and earth are revealed. Leg. The subject of the hexagram is perseverance in what is right, or in continuously acting out the law of one's being. It is seen as a sequel to the previous hexagram initiative. As that figure deals with the correct relations between husband and wife, so this figure treats of the continuous observance of their respective duties. Initiative consists of the trigrams symbolizing the youngest son and youngest daughter, and shows how the attraction and influence between the sexes is strongest in youth. Consistency, on the other hand, consists of the trigrams symbolizing the oldest son and oldest daughter. This couple is more staid. The wife occupies the lower place, and their relationship is characterized by her submission. Given two parties, a magnetic and a dynamic, in correlation, if both consistently observe what is correct and natural, i.e., the magnetic submissive and the dynamic firm, then good fortune and progress may be predicted for their course. Notes and paraphrases. Judgment. The will to maintain the consistency of the work assures progress in whatever direction it may take. The superior man holds fast to the principles of the work. Wilhelm's title for this hexagram is Duration. I feel that the word consistency best evokes the meaning of the figure. In an existence consisting of continuous change, the only things that have duration are the principles upon which change is based. To adhere to these principles is to maintain consistency. Implicit here is a consistent balance of forces. Consistency in the work means neither consistent action nor inaction, but an appropriate combination of the two principles as required by changing circumstances. The Confucian commentary alludes to this characteristic of the work when it mentions the sun, moon, and changing seasons as examples of forces which maintain their consistency within a context of continuous change. Just as the moon at night reflects the light of the hidden sun, so in the work the ego is always magnetic in relation to the dynamic self. A moon that thought it was the sun, the source of its light, would be egregiously deluded, despite superficial appearances to the contrary. So too the ego that thinks that its powers come from anywhere but the self. A quote from E.C. Whitmont in The Symbolic Quest: "Motives and standards of choice are not invented by the ego, but are structured by the actualization of archetypal predispositions through personally acquired value standards." Suggestions for meditation. Note that all of the lines in the hexagram are generally unfavorable except 2 and 5, and that when they both change places, the hexagram becomes number 31, initiative. There's a profound lesson here which is best appreciated by meditating on the associations implied. The fact that each hexagram is the inverse of the other should not be forgotten. No changing lines, so no supporting hexagram today, which highly emphasizes our hexagram that we received, which is 32 Constancy. We'll get a randomly card drawn verse from the Tao Te Ching while we sum the reading up. 32 Constancy has Zen thunder above Xun wind or wood. And Xun wind or wood is flexibility, and Zen thunder is strength. So we have strength above flexibility. And when the thunder rolls, the wind blows, kind of an idea. They're the eldest daughter and the eldest son. And similar to when the youngest daughter and youngest son interact, it's more like the feel of a new marriage, or like the passion of a young couple. Yet, and then in the hexagram 32 of the eldest son and the eldest daughter, it's as if they are constant in their relationship. They have built enough stability and history together that their relationship is established and consistent and stable. I-ming talked a bit about being consistent in what is right, because you can have constancy in the wrong path. He talked about deviated paths going off and working just to never even realize illumination. And so it's important what path we take. It can't just be any old thing that we're consistent at, depending on what our goal is. But obviously, in the terms of the I Ching and Tao Te Ching, that goal would be illumination. And for that to spread. Let's take a look at Hilary Barrett, what she said about constancy. Hexagram 32. Key questions. What inspiration are you making real in your daily life? How can you continue on the same path even as you adapt? Who will you become by persevering in this? Oracle. Lasting, creating success, not a mistake. Constancy bears fruit, fruitful to have a direction to go. Whatever becomes part of the heart's circling journey will last. We bind things, influences, ideas, people into the fabric of our daily lives by integrating them into the daily round of our way of living so that they are carried with us through change. This is an active, creative process, keeping the channels always open for exchange between inspiration and reality. Lasting tirelessly on your own path, whatever landscapes it travels through is not a mistake. What lasts bears fruit, not because you arrive at some final destination, but because through all the changes you persevere in your intent and inspiration, and you are always finding ways to make it real. Image. Thunder and wind, lasting, a noble one stands firm and does not change his bearings. Thunder and wind are endlessly changeable, but they are part of a larger, lasting cycle. The noble one's inner nature, subtle as the wind, translates into action as decisive as thunder. So however the environment changes, everything he does will always travel in the same direction. Sequence. Lasting follows from Hexagram 31, influence. The way of husband and wife cannot fail to endure, and so lasting follows. Lasting means enduring. Influence is a traditional hexagram for betrothal, and Hexagram 32 for marriage. You are attracted towards something enduring, so influence can be fixed into life like dye into a cloth. Then the lasting patterns of life are infused with vitality. What I'm seeing in this is that through all the changes in our lives, we can be consistent to an inner ideal, and it can give meaning to all the changes for us, that despite whatever happens to us, we can have some sort of bearing, like a compass needle that always points north. I was having a meditation and thinking in terms of, I've been looking up this stuff on quantum information theory, is what it's called, quantum information theory, or quantum information holography. It's the study and perspective of reality that everything is a hologram, essentially being projected out of a singularity. A lot of the ways that that theory describes reality is similar, in my mind, to a lot of how the mystics and sages perceived reality, of this one thing encapsulating all things and being the thing that everything springs forth from, and everything relating to everything else. The idea of Indra's net is this idea of all these jewels at the points where the net intersects with itself. And each jewel or diamond or pearl or whatever they are reflects all of the others within itself. This is the idea of a hologram. That's what holograms do. Anyway, in my meditation, I was thinking in terms of if everything comes from a projected source and all possibilities are held within this at the same time, it's almost like putting your mind or taking that space and bringing it into yourself. That kind of a visualization is incredibly powerful. And when I did that, it was intense. There's a lot of stuff in I-ming's Tao Te Ching especially that talks about holding that space all of the time, and that there's always a little bit of the human mentality in the mind of Tao, and always a little bit of the mind of Tao in the human mentality. It makes me even think of the yin-yang symbol. But I suppose what I attempt to do when I meditate often is to expand my sensation of that kind of feel of the void or the source or whatever everything's being projected from. Holding space for that space. Almost becoming an embodiment of what that is. And in this way, you can go through your day doing mundane things, but leaving space for that. And attempt to develop it and keep that like inner cave, maybe, if you want to call it something like that, like a cave that when you go into it, it reaches all the way to the center of the earth. And if you can hear the wind whipping through that cave, even in the middle of your mundane activities, or just behind your head, if you sense that breeze, that dark breeze. It's not hard to feel connected when you picture reality in terms of a hologram, for instance. Or enter the space that all things come from, that has no end and no beginning, that in those terms we're always connected to. In fact, that's what we are in the truest sense. I think that keeping what we are in our truest sense in focus at all times can save us from illusion, which if we want to imbue life with meaning, it would be good if it were based on reality. And it's easy to be constant and hold to something that you feel reality rests on. And so that's something I have sought out and has been helpful for me. I would suggest doing the same for yourself, trying to find a theory for everything that you feel is sound. And you might look into quantum information theory or quantum information holography. It's pretty fascinating. But anyway, we got a few cards. First one that popped out was 59. And then we have 6, 55, and 46. My copy of the Tao Te Ching is by Jia Fu Fang and Jane English. "59. In caring for others and serving heaven, there is nothing like using restraint. Restraint begins with giving up one's own ideas. This depends on virtue gathered in the past. If there is a good store of virtue, then nothing is impossible. If nothing is impossible, then there are no limits. If a man knows no limits, then he is fit to be a ruler. The mother principle of ruling holds good for a long time. This is called having deep roots and a firm foundation. The Tao of long life and eternal vision." And 6. The valley spirit never dies. It is the woman, primal mother. Her gateway is the root of heaven and earth. It is like a veil barely seen. Use it. It will never fail. He who is filled with virtue is like a newborn child. Wasps and serpents will not sting him. Wild beasts will not pounce upon him. He will not be attacked by birds of prey. His bones are soft, his muscles are weak, but his grip is firm. He has not experienced the union of man and woman, but he is whole. Sorry. He has not experienced the union of man and woman, but is whole. Never going to hear that the same again. His manhood is strong. He screams all day without becoming hoarse. This is perfect harmony. Knowing harmony is constancy. Knowing constancy is enlightenment. It is not wise to rush about. Controlling the breath causes strain. If too much energy is used, exhaustion follows. This is not the way of Tao. Whatever is contrary to Tao will not last long. In 46. When the Tao is present in the universe, the horses haul manure. When the Tao is absent from the universe, war horses are bred outside the city. There is no greater sin than desire, no greater curse than discontent, no greater misfortune than wanting something for oneself. Therefore, he who knows that enough is enough will always have enough.